Opening day, mother pumpers. Whatever.
Why
caps on?
He didn't censor himself on the Cage Side
I
Live.
know. I said motherfuckers. I did. I was just dropping f-bombs on the pre-show. So sorry. Hey, Geno.
Said pumpers. Hey, Sean, how you doing, man?
I like mother pumpers. This is going to be a problem all through this podcast, everybody. So
cute cat.
There's 3 of them.
Remember when you threatened to murder that cat for $500 from Patreons or something like that?
Oh yeah, and I don't.
No one said anything.
No, but that dude did buy the shirts, and we didn't even. Poor Alan. He does the 205. He does a good job of the 205 live recap when he's missed a few, but
yeah, when he does it, he's like,
we never put him on the show. We were supposed to put him on the show, and we didn't.
He'll be like, "Hey, the recap's ready to go." I'm like, "For what?" 205 Live. Like that was like 4 days ago.
He's a couple days. Yeah, you know.
Sean, how are you holding up?
I'm better than I would have thought. Talk to me tomorrow. I'm really not looking forward to working until 2 a.m. again tonight, but I'm sure we will.
Is your relationship surviving this? How's Julie?
Yes, because I prepped her well in advance. I mean, she knew this was. Yeah, she was. It was very. I mean, I had a little. I shouted her out on Twitter last night because on Saturday night when I was doing the takeover stuff, she went out and got on her way home from work. She worked a 12-hour shift at the hospital. Made sure she stopped and got some Thai food and made me a plate of it and brought it down to me while I was sitting in front of the TV with the laptop on my lap.
Oh man,
watching takeover. So I'm probably gonna owe her a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking marathon. I mean, I owe her every day of every second, but yeah, there's gonna have to be some date nights or something coming up. But right now we're good.
Yeah. I'm going to have to give you a day off or two to just kind of shower her with love and affection after doing something like that, man. What a woman. Yeah. That's great. I love that.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah. So, we did 50.
And that's the thing about I'm gonna, you got me talking about her. I'm going to talk about her for another second. Because the thing about her is she thinks wrestling is the dumbest shit on earth. But so it's not like she's a fan and she sits there and watches with me, or she hates this stuff, but she supports me. So there you go.
She's correct to hate it.
Came down last night. She came down and hung out with me for a second during the Intercontinental Championship match on the pre-show. And they were doing all the forklift stuff and everything. And I'm just like, why do you always show up for the dumbest shit? But it wasn't the dumbest shit. There was dumber shit to come, but it was pretty dumb when Phillips was screaming about injured ribs for 10 minutes. And
so funny enough, my lady friend is in Orlando, went to WrestleMania, did all the stuff. She's the one gave me the rumor for the Ambrose moving to the pre-show thing that we had Ortman put into the rumor special, and she was dead on. She's like, have you heard anything out there from all the people? It's like, let me mingle, I'll get back to you. Came back with that. But I even knowing that, right, after the Andre, I'm like, okay, you covered the Andre. I'm like, all right, we got 30 minutes until the pay-per-view goes live. I'm going to haul ass. This is what it is being a blogger, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to haul ass to the fucking McDonald's that's just down the road. I'm going to get myself a couple burgers and just wolf down awful food, but it'll be it'll sustain me for the night, whatever. I don't have any damn groceries in the house, whatever. I get there. There are 3 police cars. There's an argument going on outside. I'm an asshole, serious. The takeout line or the drive-through line is all the way through the fucking parking lot. We're like, I'm with my buddy. I'm like, we'll go inside. All right, we'll go inside. Plus, we have to go back these. And this really tall dude is like yelling at this chick, like, how would I even talk to you? I blocked you. And she's like, no, I blocked you. He's like, that doesn't even make sense. And then we go in, and it's like, what even happened here? We go in. There's a huge line for whatever, and I'm like, we're committed. We have to just get the damn burgers and go. And then I look on Slack I thank God I downloaded the app, Slack, what we call the Cage Side Orifices. And you put, did you want me to get the Dean Ambrose Baron Corbin match recap? And I'm like, yes, please do that. I'm like, I turned to my buddy Grubtub and I'm like, dude, I'm having a meltdown. If we don't get back when this pay-per-view starts, dude, I'm fucked. This is the worst timing for this shit. Turned out the dude who was outside with the cops worked at the fucking McDonald's. And one of the other people out there who was arguing was a manager. So they were short-staffed with 85 people to serve. We do our order, and I'm like 323. And then they call out some food coming up, and I'm like, all right, hopefully this is us. 318, we have your... I'm like, oh, fucking hell. Like, dude, we're going to have to leave. They can just keep their food. I don't care. I'm having a meltdown right now. He's like, calm down. We'll get the burgers and go. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say like
all around, Sean.
I thought you were going to say that the people stopped fighting because they wanted to get home for the start of Mania or something. But having them actually be McDonald's employees is even better, I guess, or worse.
I mean, yeah, and he came in while I'm waiting for the food. This big old tall dude, and he looked like his eyes were everywhere else. And fucking like packed, he had a duffel bag. He went behind the counter. Imagine the shock. He's out there talking to the cops, and it didn't even look like he worked there, or the manager who was wearing something not even in line with the fucking what everyone else is wearing. She's not even in uniform, but he comes in and just walks to the back, and we're like, what the fuck's going to happen here? Cops are still out there, though. I'm like, he's not robbing the place with the cops right here, is he? And he comes out with a whole duffel bag. I'm like, there's a story here, and I'd like to know what it is.
Yeah, that might be more interesting than half of what we got on 7 hours of the Ultimate Thrill Ride.
So I can't talk about Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin. Didn't see a single second of it.
Yeah, you didn't. I don't remember much of it. I know who won, and I know they said injured ribs a lot.
You did the recap. I don't even really know what happened, he says the guy who did the
really
recap.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. There was some jumping around and banter, and yeah, I don't know.
So Mania as a whole, I thought we don't get a lot of comments on this post anymore. We used to get hundreds.
No, I know. People used to like camp out for this, but
people hate us. It's me taking breaks.
We got like 1 million people watching reading the site right now, but nobody wants to hear us talk about it. So.
Mm-hmm. Our hits are through the roof. Thanks for that, everyone who's listening who reads the site. Our bosses are very pleased with us. But you know what's funny?
Pay me, motherfuckers.
Well, you know what's funny about that is we got a lot of new follows, and a lot of them are like bigwigs who work for our company. So they're like people who are over us, and I'm like, please don't do this because I like to tweet weird shit sometimes.
Yeah,
like you kind of forget, right? Like even with the readership, like you kind of forget how many people are seeing what you're saying. There's like a certain responsibility that comes with that, and so even like stuff like cursing, like after you'll never see the word fuck on the Cage Side Twitter feed. There's a reason for that, right? But sometimes I'll say shit. Or like I put Suplex City, bitch. I put that up, and then I felt
that's weird. That's a WWE sanctioned curse word. You're allowed to use that.
Not really though, because he said it. I don't think they ever. Well, yeah. Either way,
they do. That's always their. They don't do it a lot, but that's their go-to swear. They like to bust it.
That's true.
That's when you know things. Right.
But anyway, so the top comment, I think it was Jeff GM or something like that. That's probably his name, and if it's not, I don't care. He said. I thought he recapped Mania in the best way possible. He said, well, they did in fact give us the Ultimate Thrill Ride. Started with a surprise, a pro football player hopping the barricade, a security guard not understanding that was part of the show and trying to tackle him. His getting very confused.
Is that really what happened?
I'm certain that's what occurred because you can look at the footage and she's like, no, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, the look he gave was he turned away from her and looked to other people like he was baffled, like, what the fuck is she doing? Is she not aware? Like, and she must not have been. And then she kind of backed off a little. There's no logic.
That's wonderful. I thought it was part of the act, so I like it.
I did not. What's the logic behind that?
What's the logic behind a lot of this? Just to tease it out, I guess. I don't know. I mean, because the announcers were talking up. I mean, that's whoever the heel was it Graves for that? Was like, you can't just jump the barricade. He's a fan. So I thought it was part of that.
I do always feel like they set a bad precedent when they do spots like that, because you're kind of telling people who don't know. I mean, football's massive. Like people know football, but like they wear helmets, dude. Like, and you don't typically see their face. Rob Gronkowski is a pretty big star in the pro football world, but I mean, how much does that translate to wrestling? And I wouldn't. I know him because I've been a big football fan, but most football players I wouldn't recognize without their gear on. They just look like normal people. So it's like, this just, a lot of people probably like, who the fuck is this guy who's like jumping over the thing? It's like I always feel like it's a weird thing to do. Like you're encouraging weirdos. There are a lot of weirdos in wrestling to do weird things. So I don't know, but no. Anyway, so yeah, Ultimate Thrill Ride, from that, a big surprise to an insane opener to some really good stuff that got you high to hitting a complete fucking wall when Seth Rollins and Triple H did their thing and going way down to a bunch of emotional moments, a proposal, a retirement. I mean, it was a roller coaster of a show for sure. I actually came out of it
The difference, though, is that roller coasters are generally like they pack those intense highs and lows into a short amount of time. That's the thrilling part. It's quick.
Yes.
You don't get on a roller coaster and buckle in for half a day.
That's actually a really good point. No one really brought that up, and that's a good point. And maybe that's something I'll write about. I don't know, but like, it's not an ultimate thrill ride because you're right. Like, what a typical roller, even the longest roller coaster lasts what? How long are you actually on it?
5-10 minutes tops
at most.
Yeah,
is the whole ride,
and that's a big one. That's not. Some of them are like 2 minutes.
The things that your body would do if you were on it for 7 hours. And I don't know, did Kane time this thing out yet? Was that the actual final? What was the final toll of it? This show started at 4 and ended at like what? 11, 4 of Central, and ended at 5 Eastern, and ended at what? Just after midnight?
Yep.
That's over 7 hours.
Yep. I mean, that's the rumors were 7 hours, and we were talking about it in the orifices. Or with Kane, who's our crack timekeeper, among other things. Anything that has to do with numbers, we throw it to Kane Night because we're idiots.
There's no ride.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was 5. It was they beat last year. Last year was a little under 5 hours for the main card, and they went a little over 5 hours for it this time with the Taker Goodbye stuff. So that's crazy. That is crazy talk.
There is not a single activity in the fucking world that is fun for that amount of time. There's just not. You can't. There's nothing. I mean, they're in Orlando, so they're gonna. A lot of people going to Universal, Disney World, or Land, or whichever one it is that's down in Florida.
That's World.
World. Okay, so they're Disney World, Universal. Is that the same thing? Disney World, Universal. Are those the same?
No, they're two separate things. They're competing theme parks. Actually.
Oh, okay. So either way, you go to Universal, you go to Disney, and if you're there for 7 hours, like, it's a theme park, it's huge. There's a lot of stuff to do. It's like, oh my God, I get to have a great day. You're 7 hours in, you're going, I'm going to go home. Like, I'd take a shit, shower, eat.
They probably have nice bathrooms there, I imagine.
Do literally anything other than what we're doing. Like, there's no thing that you can do. Even the things that are the greatest in the world. I mean, you just, we've talked about that before. You can't have sex for 7 hours straight and have fun.
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I mean, I know there's like Sting the musician, not Sting the wrestler, is into like the tantric sex stuff. I can't. That just sounds like.
Even if you go there with it, even if you decide we're gonna marathon this shit, and when I talk about sex, of course, like, don't be children, although I'm sure there are. I don't mean just the act of penetration. We don't need to get into that part of it, but I'm just saying, like, there's many different ways to have sex with somebody, and even if you marathon it, foreplay, and foreplay, role playing, you break out all the stuff. You're not going 7 hours, and if you are, you're not happy at the end of it. You're just feeling exhausted and strange.
You're probably dehydrated and probably have some like rashes, maybe, and not like STD ones, like some like friction things.
You're chafing. Why is there a clown in the corner of the room? What happened to Dave?
Always a good question.
A lot of stuff. So I mean, but at the end of it, it's just like, why did we do this? Like, we can't, we don't need all of this. So, and then the thing is you can't ask someone to invest fully in all of these different things while putting them through that much time. So what you have to do then is you have to build the card, I think, accordingly. Well, you do have to have cooldown matches. You do have to have matches where it's like, look, it's okay to not care about this. Like, it's okay if you just kind of meander, because this doesn't really matter. The match that ended up getting that treatment was Triple H versus Seth Rollins. I thought the fans were mostly into everything else, other than the stuff that was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people. I mean, I have not rewatched any of it yet. I think I would probably like that match a little bit more on a rewatch, because it wasn't. I mean, it was the Triple H epic. It was a lot of. I mean, it was psychology based and all that stuff. But yeah, that was sort of the. I mean, I would say. I think they did. They tried to vary things up, right? I mean, we got things that were more. That was the old school psychological epic. We had, we had the total. I mean, we had the total divas moment. We had, we had the spot fest at the Open. They tried to mix it up, but it's not. I mean, it's not enough. It's not. it's not a theme park experience where you can go and like do a ride and then see a show and then have a meal and then, you know, take a shit, whatever. It's all, it's still all wrestling that we have to sit and watch. We're not doing anything. And it's too much.
The Rollins Triple H match, I mean, I guess we'll just get that out of the way. I'll never be all that entertained by matches like this particular. When it's focused on a body part, that's good psychology. I mean, it makes sense. You know, he's got a bum knee, attack the knee. Do the submissions that fuck the knee up. You know, that's how you, whatever. Like, it's, you know, like you said, old school wrestling psychology. It's not a big spot fest, or it's not moves and all this shit. It's just, there's an area to attack, so you attack it, and the dude has to overcome that. But I'm never that entertained watching a dude limp around on one leg trying to, you know, battle back and victory against whatever. Like, I like the other kind of stories that are more, I don't know, like I think of Undertaker versus like Triple H from WrestleMania 28, you know, like when they built to, you know, all these moments where it was like, it looks for sure like Triple H is going to win, looks for sure like he's going to win. Finally, he realizes he's not going to win. And there was that really cool moment where he kind of sat up in the corner and looked at him and was just kind of like shaking his head and kind of like clearly exhausted and kind of swaying his body and like looking to Shawn Michaels and looking back at Undertaker. And like, you can see the moment that it hits, I can't win. I'm not going to win because I can't. There's just not going to happen. And so the way he reacted to that was he looked at him and he did the suck it sign and then walked into a tombstone, and that was the end of the match. Like, I like story stuff like that in the match, contained within the match. I'm not ever going to be a fan of, you know, because it's not combat. Like, it's not actual combat. So
well, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean, this is, to be a match like this, you either have to be super invested in the story, which we've discussed many times. For me, I think
we are not.
I lost momentum on this too many times for me to feel that way about it. Or no, that's really it. That's the only way, because otherwise I want to see this happen in a shoot fight environment. Like, if the story of a, you know, an MMA fight is a guy gutting it out. So, you know, you want the Oscar Robinson moment where you know, where somebody's injured and they come back onto the court or the field for the game. You want that real. It's really hard to replicate that in an environment where we know it's scripted. Yep. Even though Seth was really hurt, still.
Rich Franklin. That what came to my mind was what was it, UFC 115 back when I used to watch. Rich Franklin fought Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell kicked him and he hit him in the arm and broke his arm.
Yep.
Visible clearly. And you know what he did? He knocked Chuck Liddell out.
Yep.
Thankfully, it was within the first round, and after the end, he's like, "Yeah, I broke my arm," and he was holding it, and you could tell it's broken after. And he's like, "I'm glad that I ended it in the first, because I don't know if I would have been able to go out for the second." But he broke his arm and kept fighting for like 2 minutes. That's a super impressive, amazing thing. And then he got the win and overcame his injury. In wrestling, it just doesn't translate as well, because it's just some of it's so silly, so goofy that, you know, he's doing the fucking, you know, the figure four and the arm or the knee bar, whatever the fuck it was, and, you know, okay, let's set his leg up out on the outside and I'll jump on it, or all this stuff. It's like, a lot of wrestling depends on people not understanding human anatomy and like what these things would actually do and the damage that would be done, whatever. So it's just kind of, I don't know, it takes me right out of it. Yeah, it's not real. They're not actually fighting. And to me, they didn't tell enough of a story within the match. Like, that was the whole story. He's got a bad knee. He's trying to take advantage. He's going to ultimately overcome that. And that, well, I guess they kind of did at the end when Steph got on the apron and then he knocked her off to the table.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to, I mean, because this is the second year in a row where the thing that the crowd has woken up for in a Triple H match is his wife taking a bump.
Yeah. At least this time, it wasn't like a spear. Weird. It was...
Yeah, it was an accidental bump, but yeah.
At the same time, let it not be said that everyone says Stephanie never gets hers. She got speared in the biggest spot last year. She went through a table in the biggest spot this year. I mean, they're doing it in the ways that they can do it without explicitly having a man hit a woman.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like that's, you know what I mean?
Guess. I mean, I see both sides of that still. I mean, because I don't know. This isn't, yeah. I mean, yes, she does.
That's a tough topic.
It's a tough topic, and I think it's also, you know, I don't know. I'd have to think about it some more to see if, like, the bumps that she does take really help the story, or if it's just like
yeah, I mean, it wasn't like
Rollins. It's more of a cheap pop moment as opposed to like somebody actually getting over on her.
And it did right. The crowd was alive for it. Triple H turned around, really pissed off, and got pedigreed and pinned. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It felt like they hammered too much on the injury aspect and didn't hammer enough on, I want to get back to who I was before I met you. Like that part of it is the interesting part to me, not the physical injury that he had to overcome. And he was also sick leading into this. A big shout out to Rollins he did overcome a lot of very real ailments, but to make this happen. So that's cool. But I just there's no the emotional part of it is what I connect to. So this just kind of fell really, really flat for me.
I mean, yeah, I thought they, hitting the Phoenix Splash and that stuff. I mean, that sort of shows. That's sort of, I don't know. Yeah, it would have been nice. I mean, this goes back to part of the problem with this story is that Rollins never really changed when he was a heel. He was still doing the same kind of stuff. Like I think he probably, if you wanted to get over that, he wanted to be the man he used to be as opposed to what he became under Triple H. He should have won with something other than the pedigree.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess we're never going to see the curb stomp come back, but that would have been dope if he was like he set up for the pedigree and said, you know what, no, and then pushed him and did the rope run and did a curb stomp. That would have been like, oh, he's back to what we used to play.
And that's heavy-handed enough that people wouldn't miss it. That people wouldn't be like, well, I wonder why he did that. It'd be like, oh, it's very clear why he did that. That kind of stuff is what to me makes a story really good, like little touches like that. And they didn't do that here. So another match that was dependent on that kind of stuff was Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. How'd you feel about that?
I've got to remember about
right. That's the thing.
I have to think back to it.
Nothing memorable, I thought.
The only thing the thing that I remember is Owens' finger rope break.
The finger of God rope break.
Yep. That was pretty cool.
Did we post on that? So did someone put a GIF up or a photo, man? We should have posted.
I don't know. I had a list of that's another thing. Like while the show's going on, I'm trying to make a mental list of the GIF posts I want to do later, and I just completely forgot. Because from the Triple H one I still want to do is he teased the fucking Pepsi plunge. Triple H cannot stop trolling CM Punk, but I can't.
Well, he can
even look for a GIF for it.
He can just claim that he's so vicious.
I know. I mean, he always does it so that it's not obvious. But I don't know. Knowing what we know about Triple H, I don't know. Whatever. I'm willing to make that claim for hits. I don't care. I'm a whore. People will click on Triple H. Won't stop trolling CM Punk. I know they will. So I'll do it.
And then you'll get those certain. You'll get some people who are just wild fanatics.
Yeah. Or people who are like Slow News Day. Yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah, but
anyway,
actually no.
Owens Jericho. Yeah, the thing with Owens Jericho is I don't feel like that story's over. We know Jericho's not leaving. I have to think he's gonna, and it makes sense that Owens. I mean, I'm glad that Owens won at Mania, and I guess we'll maybe do some sort of show some ass for Jericho. I guess he's not going to lose the belt. I think that's probably Owens. Hopefully, he comes out tonight and turns it into the Canadian title and.
What he said on Twitter was, I might leave his name on it to remind everyone who which I thought was cool. And then he also said, before he won, I think he said, I'm going to win the title and become # the face of America. Which I thought, yeah, see?
I love that guy. I mean, that's what the finger of God rope break is. That's all I could think. I laughed out loud, like a fucking belly laugh. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, I love that guy. I mean, that's all I remember from the match. That's the WrestleMania moment that I remember from that match.
Yeah. They had a segment that was just too well done before it, I guess, I don't know. I mean, it felt like, some matches like a match like this got to be really brutally intense and, the two guys kind of just beating the fuck out of each other. And you don't get that kind of stuff anymore. I mean, that just doesn't seem to ever happen.
And here's the thing. I mean, I love Chris Jericho more than is probably healthy, but he's not going to turn in a phenomenal match at this point in his career. He does pretty well. He tells the story.
He's standard.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, I like the thing. So I like that. I like the finger break. I like the and I like that the apron power bomb is the thing that will kill anybody. Yeah, and this furthered that too. So I liked it. I mean, I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I think I'm higher on the show in general than you are, but I understand.
Let's hit the big ones.
Why you're not? But yeah, okay.
Well,
they were all kind of big ones. I mean, really? I mean,
true.
right? I mean, that's
true.
The thing. It's 13
more than anything
matches.
More than anything, my bigger gripe. When it was over, I was like, I didn't like that. And I look back, think about it. I'm like, well, there was a lot of stuff contained that I did like, at least the finger of God rope break. I don't know why I'm calling it the finger of God.
I don't know. I saw other people calling it that too. So I don't. I guess that's what it's called.
So that, and then there was stuff that I liked from even the Andre. There was stuff that I like. I thought the cruiserweight match was really good. It started the show. Shane and AJ fucking tore the house down. It was really fun. That was fine. I mean, the women's match was fine. The Hardys returned and it was fucking awesome. And they won a kind of short ladder match, but a fun ladder match. It wasn't masturbatory. Like, they actually did things that made sense and still got a big spot out of it and a big surprise title win. And what's the future? And that was really, like, I could go through the whole card and go, I actually really enjoyed mostly all of this stuff. But at the end of it, it's just so much to ask of me. And I'm also, I'm looking through the glasses of a person who, when you watch the show as a fan, you can tune out for parts of it. You can ignore parts of it. You can just watch it and not feel the stress of having to cover it, of looking at angles and looking at what they're doing and how it will translate to what we do. So I get that. And I think maybe a big part of it is, when it ended, my night wasn't even close to over. I still had plenty that I needed to get done and plenty to do. And that was even with delegating. That was even with, hey, Swift, I need, will you do the recap? Because I just can't, there's just too much going on. Yep. So maybe that coded it. But the overall, even with all that, though, I still feel like overall at the end of it, but like I said, my girlfriend was at the show and it was like, I'm exhausted. I'm not having a good time. And if you're not, the stadium's so big, like she showed me your seats, and it's like, I'm spending a lot of time watching the screen. I could have done that at home and not have been cold.
Yeah, I mean, Tape Machines was there. He was tweeting from his seats, which were apparently on the moon. Yeah. And there was, I think David Bixen's band was doing a whole thing where he was like talking to people who paid hundreds of dollars for seats and couldn't see anything because they were set up behind production elements. And
I was gonna do a post on that today, or I was gonna ask her more about that. Julie was tweeting all night, complaining heavily about from their seats, and she's taking pictures. This is bright orange light. They totally missed the Cena proposal. They totally missed the Cena match. They missed so much because they just were looking into this big ass fucking light. It's like, we can't see. And they were like, her boyfriend, and apparently a bunch of other people were complaining about it too. They're like tweeting WWE, tweeting the WrestleMania account. They're like, can you fix this, please? Like, we paid a lot of money to be here. And they're not great seats, but like, come on, like, this is fucked up. We want to watch the show. Like, we're still having a good time, but like, we can't see. And then kept tweeting pictures, and I'm like, well, is that the glare from the phone, or is that just actually the light? Apparently, it was actually the light, and you can't see shit. Just a big ass light. So it's like, this is just not, and I tweeted at the start of the night, and people accuse me of complaining, and it's like, it's not an observation. Is not a complaint,
right,
in and of itself. I said, stadium shows are cool, but wrestling is not meant to be consumed in a space this large. Which I think that's the case. Like, I mean, there were plenty of indie shows that people went to this week and weekend where, there are 200 people in there, right? And they're just crowded around the ring and, having a good time with it like that. That's more of what wrestling's supposed to be. Not, or even just what a Raw is, 10,000 people.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I mean, to me, there's two types of wrestling. There's a 500 seat venue, and then there's absolutely nothing wrong with a 10 to 15,000 seat venue. Those are both acceptable.
Still no bad seats.
The stadium show is, I mean, I guess it's an experience, but
that's the argument, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's apparently a big part of it. I mean, that's what, my lady friend said the atmosphere is really cool. It's awesome.
Yeah. And probably if you can afford $1,000 seat where you can actually have a direct line of sight to the ring, it's an unparalleled experience. But there's a handful of people on Earth who can and want to spend that kind of money on going to WrestleMania.
Yep, I was with someone a couple years ago who did that. Who would wait for the VIP stuff they sell those VIP packages in like November. Would be by the computer as soon as it goes on sale. Buys all the stuff, the whole weekend, whole everything, travel and all that. And I think all told by the end of it, the entire price of doing Access, Hall of Fame, NXT, Mania, Raw. This is obviously SmackDown's this year, but they didn't at this time. But the Raw after Mania, all hotel, travel, all of those things together, Like 12 grand. This is front row too, by the way. So the seats were right. I mean, not front row, but like maybe three rows off, because the front row's the celebrities and all those, whatever. But yeah, so this is 3 rows from the front. 12 grand, Sean. That's fucking crazy to me.
I can't. I mean, I'm horrible at managing money, so I don't even understand how people have that kind of money sitting around. Yeah. But yeah.
That's what we talked about too.
I love wrestling a lot. I really do. I mean, I get a little burnt out on it, but I really do. But I can't imagine spending that kind of money on a one-day experience.
On anything other than like a car.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I would enjoy over a period of time, right?
A cabin. I mean,
that's
a place to live.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
trip to space. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Significant amount of money, and it's not. I don't even know what that kind of money looks like. Like I've never, the most money, I think, I remember I grew up poor. So it's like, I remember for the longest time, it was like, what's the most money you've ever like been seen in one place? Like you've ever had at one time. And it's like, for a long time, it was like $700. To me, I'm balling. I'm rich. So it's like this kind of, you get to this scale and it's like, this is crazy. All right, let's, Undertaker.
Well, we can talk about. You want to talk about Styles and McMahon, or
okay? It was.
I mean, here's the thing about this card that I was kind of thinking is like, you have to do. I mean, knowing that Taker's retiring, there's no other choice of what has to go on last. But man, if they would have like turned this card upside down, like done it in reverse order, it would have been. I don't know. I mean, I was not. Some of my least favorite matches were the last matches on the card, and I don't know if that's all because of fatigue or if it's because
you gotta wonder
they weren't as good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's hard to...
would I have loved Styles and McMahon as much if it was match 11 as opposed to match 1 or 4, however you want to count them? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I thought Styles and McMahon built to a really good place, but I like 5 minutes in or something, I'm like, this sucks. This is, AJ can't have a good match with anybody because this is painful. And
I actually enjoyed it all throughout. I thought they told a really good story with what they were doing. Is like Shane's he's doing arm drags and shit, and it was cute. I just thought it was cute. Like, this is so fun. Like, look at this dude try. And it was so early that it was like I had that capacity to, I had patience at that point. My patience ran out as soon as Pitbull showed up. I was done. I was like, don't fucking do this. They're actually, and people are like, are they going to cut the women's match? I go, I would laugh forever if they did.
Some people just want to watch the world.
That would be the best thing that ever happened.
Geno is one of them.
I absolutely am. It would be the best thing that ever happened. And then I'm like, no, they're just going to go until they're fucking done. And I don't think they care what time that is anymore.
No, it doesn't. No.
Like, we'll just get our shit in and everyone will do what they do. And that'll be that. Like, we're at the end of the night and we're already 6.5 hours in and Taker's doing his entrance and legitimately took longer than Goldberg's match.
Yep. Check out that post on the site. Cheap plug.
On cageheadseats.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another one. Why? I mean, the concert, why isn't that at the 8 o'clock hour? That should be early, man. You're just fucking with me at that point. I would be curious if anybody is listening, and it's probably not, because I think anybody that's fucking listening to this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is a network subscriber. But if you bought this on pay-per-view or anybody that did, what happens after the allotted time? Did people, because I know like in China, they sold this on straight pay-per-view. They had a big press release about how it was going to be available live on pay-per-view for the first time in China. So, like, if you're watching this, did you not see anything after whatever it was, Rollins and
There's no way that's the case. I mean, you can't.
Right. I mean, so I guess they must have so the network makes the whole "it doesn't matter when we stop" thing possible for most of their customers. They must have made that possible for everybody else too, right? Or they
you'd hope.
Secretly tell the pay-per-view providers they're going to go till 12:30.
They missed one of the biggest moments in the history of the fucking of the event
industry. Yeah.
If that was something that I mean,
I'm just curious. I'd be curious if anybody knows anybody that paid. God, I mean, is it still $70? I don't know anything about the pay-per-view industry anymore.
I don't either. I have DirecTV, and they don't carry WWE pay-per-views now that the network exists. So I wouldn't even know how. And I wanted to because I don't want to deal with the stream issues, and the stream issues were spotty for me.
I was mostly good, but there was a period in there. What was it? Was it? I don't know. It was either H. Rollins or Wyatt Orton, where my stream just shit the bed, and for a while it rebooted and like took me back to 2 hours earlier, and I had to shut down my whole Roku. It was a mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, that's not interesting, but now you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so, there were some other people who were complaining about some. I think Nash was saying that Kevin Nash was on his shit, going, "Yeah, this is awful. I can't even watch it. The production sucks." But no, I mean, yeah, fatigue, I think, had to play a heavy part in enjoyment of a lot of the stuff that they did at the end of the show. And it just so happens those were all the big matches. Like, I actually really thought Shane and AJ was the most fun. To me, probably match of the night. I didn't vote in the poll, but I mean, I think that was probably the match that I enjoyed the most. As far match of the night, so there are different ways to vote in a poll like this. What was the best match versus what is the match you enjoyed the most? I kind of typically, some events I'll have my snarky hat on and I'll go, well, the work rate was solid.
Right.
This one I was like, what did I enjoy? Because enjoyment was hard to come by at a point, and that's partially the just exhaustion of everything that we've been doing for the past few days. And just wanting to, God, I can't wait till Wednesday, dude. Like, my day off cannot get here soon enough. We're getting close. But
mine's not till Thursday, so go fuck yourself.
But yeah, so I think that was probably my favorite match, and I think it was put together really well. I liked that they had AJ or Shane actually try to wrestle with AJ, and I liked that AJ actually sold for him, because if nothing else, it was just like, dude, he made Shane look like a threat to him. And to me, that's what a good heel does. That's what a good fucking wrestler does. This guy, I get it that it's Shane. That's what people talk about when they go, well, he could have a good match with a broomstick. The reason he could have a good match with a broomstick is that he will wrestle the broomstick and make it to where he's the best, but he will also convince you that the broomstick has a realistic chance of beating him. AJ Styles did that. AJ Styles had me thinking Shane might win this fucking match. AJ Styles is a wrestling god. He is number one in the fucking world. I don't watch a lot of other shit, and I don't need to, because the best in the world is right here.
If there was somebody better than AJ Styles, he would be working for WWE right now, because it's not, like you said, it's not just that is the best work rate. It's that he told this story. And that's not, so that's the trick. I mean, because it wasn't just that Shane might beat him. It was that he was arrogantly thinking Shane couldn't beat him, and then Shane convinced him maybe he could, so he had to take it to another level. It was a 3-part, it was first act, second act, third act in that match.
I mean,
Shane deserves credit for that too, but
yeah. And I like that they do incorporate some MMA stuff into situations like this, because you need to for stuff like that. For someone like Shane, like, you're never going to convince me he has actual wrestling ability. I mean, the arm drag is the go-to move for that. Oh, he knows how to wrestle. Like, that's my favorite thing. Like, when they bring in a celebrity, that's what they have him do.
Yep.
And so that's what Shane's doing, and it's like, ooh, he's actually going to try to out-wrestle him. But the submissions, the triangle, the stuff that, like, that shit actually will choke fuckers out. Like, those get finishes in MMA fights. The UFC is bigger than WWE at this point. I mean, well, that's an arguable point either way, but I mean, enough people have seen effective fighting techniques. Enough people know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually is. I was tweeting and joking that Shane's got a better ground game than CM Punk does. But no, I thought it was cool. I don't know what he was going for when he did the springboard off the ropes and he kind of fell into the triangle, but it's a good moment. It's a good, they did that well too, where it was not just some punches and then this and then, whatever. It was, they spaced out their moments. They did their big spots. They managed to, it was just a singles match, but still managed to do the coast to coast with the trash thing or whatever. They did the ref bump. The cool spot like that where he goes to do the fucking, the flip or whatever and ends up in the triangle. And then how did he counter that?
Yep.
With a fucking Styles clash.
Yep.
With the arm still fucking gone. Like, they called it on the broadcast a one-arm Styles clash. Dude, that was amazing. And Shane's not young. Like, this is insane. Like, I couldn't believe they pulled it off. Also, I'm pretty sure Shane McMahon did a shooting star press in this match.
Yes, he did.
So he actually wrestled. It was like everyone's like, well, how's he going to AJ? AJ's not that good. I think Shane carried AJ here, guys. No. But no, yeah, so I was super, super impressed. AJ's amazing. Shane deserves a ton of fucking credit. It was an awesome open to the show, to the pay-per-view portion. So,
Right.
I thought those were great.
I would probably, especially now that we're talking about it, it would be up there for me. I mean, I was a big fan of Aries Neville. That was the one I was really, really looking forward to, and I thought it lived up to it. I fucking love the storytelling finish to that one, because if you're not watching 205 Live for 4 months, the running joke was that Austin Aries, whenever asked, like, what would you do in this situation by Morrow or Corey, he would say, I'd stick my thumb in his eye. And that's what Neville fucking did to beat him. So it calls back to that, and it calls back to Aries' eye injury that he suffered at Shinsuke Nakamura's knee, who may be showing up on Tuesday night as well. So that's a whole nother thing. So I love that match a lot. I liked Goldberg Lesnar a lot for the exact. I mean, and that's maybe because I had low expectations, and there wasn't shit to that match, but I thought it was fun. I was sitting there for 4 minutes or however long it ran. Check out Kane's post on CagesideSeats.com. I was sports entertained. It was ridiculous. It was goofy, and I liked it. So those are probably, honestly, God, those are probably my top three. Where Lesnar, Goldberg, Styles, McMahon, and Neville Aries.
I thought Lesnar Goldberg was awesome.
I really liked that match.
That's exactly what they needed to do. Lesnar actually did get to him. Mm-hmm. Suplex, scream, standard. And I thought, oh shit. And as I'm thinking, oh shit, here comes Goldberg to no-sell and spear his ass. I'm like, oh my God. And then again, too, that was good too, because it was like they'd convinced me of things going one way, and then convinced me those things were not going to go that way. They were going to go the other way. And then this was a way for them to be like, actually, maybe they'll go the way that we convinced you it actually wouldn't this time.
Right.
So I thought that was good. Good agenting, I guess, in the match. Good.
I really liked how they laid that out.
I like the layout there. Execution. No, yeah. So, I mean, and then did the spear, and then they did the big spot on the outside.
Spot, yep.
I thought that was good too, where it's like he got the spear and Lesnar rolled out of the ring, which is like, hey, he learned something. Maybe I shouldn't lay here and allow the next thing to happen. But then that just ended up getting him speared on the outside. But then he came back, and then Goldberg, he said he wanted to show something, and what he wanted to show was that he could take 10 German suplexes from Brock Lesnar. I hope he's not dead right now. Hope he's okay. He's old. But he was in phenomenal fucking shape, though, man. He said he wanted to get so he looked good, and he looked good. They kicked out of the jackhammer. They had Brock kick out of the jackhammer, which was good. And then I think he only hit the one F5, and that was it. Got the pin. Yep. So good. He's Universal Champ. I thought Goldberg's entrance was funny because I know you have to do a part of his appeal is a character. And you have to do the character stuff because that's what gets us invested in the matches. Is the walk from the locker. Is the knock, and that's part of the cool factor of this shit. But it's 80 yards to get from the top of the ramp to the ring. You don't need to add to that by having me watch him walk from his locker room, and you're adding. Now it's a full football field. He's a football field away from Brock, and they made us watch every second of it. And while he was walking down, like, I swear, he's like looking out at the crowd. Like, it was moments where it was just like, holy fucking shit, there's a lot of people. And then there was a moment I could have swore I saw it where he was like, wow, I've been in my own head for way too long. I've been walking forever. I can't believe I'm not still at the ring. I better do something. And then he like just yelled. It was like, wow, I was enthralled by this entrance that he did. And it was just a man walking. And the fucking sparks didn't even engulf him like they normally do. Like it was so awkward. And he smiled when he came up because he must have known, like, well, that didn't fucking go well.
Yep.
But no, I thought the match was really good. I'm glad he's no longer the champ. I hope he goes away and doesn't come back again. But yeah, there we go.
Yep. I would say I thought I had a couple thoughts about entrances because
let's hear them.
Sports entertainment.
Oh my God,
sports
entertainment
entrance spectacle. The Orton entrance was great. So for the most part, I thought they were kind of low key this year, and I guess I'm thinking that's because they put $70 billion into the setup, so they didn't have cyborgs and shit coming out with people. But it was pretty low key. I mean, even Triple H is just the motorcycle. They look like the coolest Sons of Anarchy couple ever of all time.
Police escort, yeah.
I mean, but it was not. I mean, Sasha drove to the ring. I mean, little stuff, but not the big.
Nobody got a big entrance, no.
You know, yeah. Which I actually kind of liked, and it stood out when Orton got the cascading fireworks and the snake on the ramp. Which I guess when they were saying that it had more LED fixtures than any setup in the history of anything, I guess it was because the fucking entire ramp was an LED screen. So that was dope.
Which, it's funny because I thought the Orton entrance was really cool. I liked that snake thing, following him down and doing the thing. And then I go on Twitter, and I won't say names, but there's a segment of people on Twitter who their opinions, I went from like thinking, hey, these people are great, have good wrestling opinions, to seeing what they say and just being like, these are the dumbest fucking people I've ever read opinions of. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But I saw a lot of people saying that the snake looked like sperm. Yeah. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
I have a dirty and juvenile mind, and that never crossed my mind.
At all.
Yeah.
And then the snake wasn't long
Sperm
enough.
don't have tongues, and they don't have long tails.
It's like it's very clear what they're doing here. Like, that's like, I don't.
The man's nickname is the Viper. It's not the Seaman.
The video package was about a snake. He literally told a story of a snake attacking a man going after a rabbit. They literally held your hand, and you found a way to bitch about something or complain because the snake didn't look good enough. And to me, it's like, get away, go away, get away from me. Stop having opinions about this thing. That, like, sometimes and not even observations, or it's just like, it's, all caps fucking complain and bitching about this ain't right. Are we going to talk about how fucked this is? It's the people who say Brock has a penis on his chest. Folks, it's clearly a sword. I understand if you're trying to make a joke and be funny, but it's a fucking sword. Like, come on.
And that joke is not funny anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a time for it. Have fun. Joke,
that time was 2010. So let's move on. I mean,
that was the year he got it, by the way. But no, yeah. So I thought the Orton entrance was really fucking cool. And then,
so what did you think about the maggots and the worms and the flies and the locusts?
I liked that they did it. It didn't get over too well, and it was whatever. And to me, I just saw dollar signs because I'm like, that'll play well.
Yeah.
Do a GIF or do a post on that. Maggots in the ring at WrestleMania 33, and people are like, what the hell is he talking about? Click, and it's kind of a Rickroll in a way, but I'm glad they went that route as far as like go the full nine, because if you're goofy and crazy, and this dude committed arson, and this guy bathed in ashes of a dead person who we aren't even sure really existed, and then this dude used some fucking what was it that he used, like the
WWE called it a crucix, CRUSIX, which is not an actual word. I looked it up. So I guess they just didn't want to. They just didn't want to call it a crucifix. Yeah, so they made up something else. Yeah.
So yeah, he used the crucifix or whatever to stab the heart of the such a goofy, wacky, wild thing. So yeah, go the full nine with it. Just do the whole thing. And I like that
this feud's been like that from the jump. I mean, last fall they were doing the stuff where they were chasing each other backstage, and there were cardboard cutouts with light up eyes, and it's not like they all of a sudden got weird with this feud.
Yeah, so I like that they did it, but it didn't really play into anything. It just like,
well, here's my problem with it, and there are two instances on this card where Sean's gonna get mad on the internet a little bit about the outcome. And this is one of them. Like, if you're going to do that shit, the guy that pulls that trick should probably win, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird to me and for all the, as excited as I and a lot of people were at the Elimination Chamber, like, they finally got Bray. No, they don't. Or they don't. I mean, or they're fine with him right where he is. And now they're going to be able to say he's world champ and he's going to go. I mean, this was.
The Bray that you want when you think that is not the Bray you're ever going to get.
Right. There you go. That's a better way to put it.
I think WWE does a lot of things where it's like, yeah, like you said, it'll look cool. It'll be a cool thing. And then it's okay that he's going to lose. Can you imagine, like, I'm reading a book right now. I can't imagine in the book that I'm reading that the author would abandon the story mid-story, mid-book, just to do something that, well, this is cool. It makes no sense for the story. And then continue on as though the story's, you know what I mean? Like, because he'd never sell another fucking book. Wrestling somehow has made it to where they can do that, and we just accept it for some dumb fucking reason. We just accept that it's okay that, yeah, you're right. Like, you know, as I said, even I'm sitting here going, I thought it was cool. Glad they did it. Go the full 9 with that kind of goofiness. But as far as the story goes, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense that. And Orton didn't even respond like he was pissed scared. Like you'd think there'd be
the first one. He acted a little weird, or at least the announcers acted like he was shook. But then he brushed that off and was just right back to being the same Randy Orton match we always get.
Yeah, like I needed something more. I needed him to like freak out and like for the rest of the match be like brushing non-existent bugs off his body. Like
be afraid of the ring because that's where the maggots are.
Like I'm not going back in there. You fucking go in there and wrestle him. Like
or have an answer for it, right? He's shown that he's willing to get supernaturally weird with Bray. So that shit happens, and then he should have had some sort of weird comeback or something. I don't know. I mean,
where's your LED snake when you need it, dude?
Right.
You get him before having
the fucking snake should show up and eat all the maggots in the ring, and then slither back up the ramp, and then you hit the RKO, and
that makes sense,
right?
They're just like, well, we'll just do the maggots, right? And then what? Huh? Well, right, but what's gonna happen after the maggots? Huh? He's gonna pin him. What do you mean? What's going on? Fuck, Vince. What are you talking to? Are you serious? All right, let's just do it. Let's make it happen for him. That's basically what that is, and it just doesn't feel good. So at the end of it, when he does get the win, it's just like, all right, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm not looking forward. I mean, everybody's like, you know, respect to Orton and all that stuff, but I'm just not looking forward to a Randy Orton title reign.
I also was like, I felt like they missed an opportunity, or maybe they didn't miss an opportunity. Maybe it was what it was for the, you know, when he did burn down Sister Abigail's resting place. I remember I think I talked to you about it and said he needs to change now. Like this is a very key fundamental. That's a big problem with characters in wrestling in general. Is they rarely evolve.
Yeah.
You see them for years and years and years, and they're the same fucking person the whole time. I am not like, if you as a human can look back at the you that you were 5 years ago and not feel some sense of, you're not doing life right. I don't feel like you should look back on you and kind of be ashamed a little, even, or be like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, man, because that's called growth, ladies and gentlemen. Like you're supposed to be getting better, or, you know, do something to improve yourself or become different, or not even that, like just simple. That's the process of growing, and things happen in life and shit goes down and you learn from the experiences that you have. Something happens that affects you. Like you can't pretend like that's not the case. You can't pretend like something major didn't occur, or you can, and then that's the effect of the thing that occurred. And so to me, it was like they just burned Sister Abigail's resting place. Now, if we're really going to go with this story and you want me to immerse myself within it, I will do that. But I need you to do the same. So I'm going to need Bray to change now. This is a defining moment in his life. You cannot have, if you took Jim Ross is a good example right now, sadly, right? And it's hard to even speak of it in the same tone. Like you see my voice just changed, just thinking about speaking of a man who just lost his wife in a horrible accident. His life is forever different now. He is a different person today than he was just a week ago. In the world of WWE, he's not. He's exactly the same person he was before. That doesn't work for me. I don't want that. I need you to show me that Bray Wyatt was so affected. And when it was happening, he's like sobbing. He's like leaned up against, he's like rocking himself back and forth. And I'm like, oh shit. Their answer was just to have him do all the same shit, but the next week, go to the same place and put some dirt on his face and say, now she's a part of me and everything's fine. Yep. I was just like, you know, she lives within me now. It's like, then why were you upset before? Did it just
didn't know that she was gonna live? Yeah, I mean, it
happened on a Tuesday and it occurred to you on Thursday. Wait, I'll just go bathe myself in her ashes and it'll all be fine. All right, I'm good again. Like, that's not how this kind of shit's supposed to work in life, man. You know what I mean? I just don't, you know.
I feel like, I mean, I agree, when characters sort of develop in wrestling, it's sort of accidental, or we recognize it after the fact. We have to do the Max Landis wrestling isn't wrestling thing and look back and say, oh, look what they accidentally told.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you know,
WWE storytelling is accidental at best.
A TV show or a movie or a novel. I mean, where you like, oh, this thing happened, and I get to see the result now. It's yeah, I don't know. I guess that's
WWE storytelling can best be described as accidental at best.
Usually, yeah. I mean, the meaningful beats, yeah. I mean, sometimes they get it right. And even then, I mean, I'm sort of confounded as to how they lost the momentum from, you know, the Festival of Friendship, which I think we all agree was like that was like an all-time great Raw segment, right? But it still ended up in
the history of Raw to me.
It still ended up with a match at WrestleMania that didn't feel like a blood feud. That didn't.
I won't remember it tomorrow.
It did. Maybe it did to other people, but for me, it just did. I mean, what I remember out of it is a spot that made me laugh at the apex of a match that's supposed to be paying off a blood feud. That's weird.
And I think they get too wrestling-y with stuff. Fuck your headlocks. Fuck your lariats and your Irish whips. When you have something like this, fight. Go out there, like literally never stop coming at each other. Literally never stop.
I mean, they start with that, right? That's their go-to, and then they go back, and then they're like, "Oh, but we have to just have a wrestling match now."
Yeah, they start there. You need to do like what they always had Sammy and Owens do, fucking dirty boxing. You know, get the fucking clinch, one arm on, you know, and just fucking throwing punches and they're hitting each other, or like the Don Fry Takayama Open, where that's what they're emulating, you know, doing that. And then, you're going to get exhausted, but never stop throwing punches, never stop trying to kill the other guy, because that's how that would go. That's what would actually happen. There's no point in the history of time if I meet one of my fucking sworn enemies that I'm going to Irish whip him into the corner. That's stupid. That is fucking stupid. The idea that you're going to throw a guy into the ropes and he's just going to run and bounce off and run back at you is the dumbest shit in the world. But you'll accept it because it's just wrestling, so okay, we'll go with that. But at times like this, throw that shit out. And they only do that for Brock Lesnar. They only do that for a Goldberg. So you should cherish having this stuff instead of bitching that it's only 2 minutes. You know why I like it's only 2 minutes or 4 minutes? Because they don't ask him to do dumbass shit like an Irish whip.
Yep.
Like, here, I'm going to throw you into the ropes and you just choose to run. Or the spot in the Cena match where they did the kicks. Miz did the kicks. I can't fucking stand it. It's so stupid it hurts me. Like, Cena literally sat up on his knees and was like rocking himself back and forth like he's dazed. Which, no, you're not. That's not how being dazed works. But you can still sit yourself up. And then as Miz is kicking him, he lifts himself up into that one. And I'm going, I can't. It breaks my brain, dude. Like, it literally takes me, this is the stupidest fucking shit. I can't, like, you have to have the fucking palate of a toddler to be okay with this. You have to fucking have the IQ of an idiot to let this be a thing that actually entertains you. If you have logic and reasoning, you can't see that and think this is good. You have to find a different way to look at it. And I just can't get there. With shit like that, I just can't get there. So then you go to the KO Owens thing, or the Owens Jericho thing, and it's like, dudes, stop it. I don't need a chin lock. Don't do that shit, man. That's not how it would ever be. Or if you're sometimes certainly they clinch in fighting, and there's a lot of you can go to it's one of my favorite Twitter accounts. I won't lie, 30-second fights, real fights, just people in the streets fighting each other. There's slams all the time. Like people will grab each other up, but you know what they're doing the whole time? They're trying to hurt the other person.
Right.
They're not. It's not a rest hold. There's no rest holds in real fighting. When it's time for a rest hold, usually the fight's over. And I get it that it can't be that way, and I get it that it's different and it's an art form, and it's, we're kind of going back to the Ospreay Ricochet debate of that's choreographed. That's not a wrestling match. It's not a fight. It's choreographed, synchronized dancing, simulated whatever. I get that. I mean, this is an argument we'll probably always have because it's just, I don't know where the middle ground is. But at least for a feud like this, change it up. That's the other thing. Change it up. I don't want to see the same goddamn match every fight, and that's all WWE is. It's the same fucking match with different guys, and go with it. I don't know. It's hard to go with it sometimes. It really is.
Especially when you're watching 7 straight hours of it.
Exactly.
So,
did you like the proposal? The match was garbage.
Yeah, that's the other booking decision that I'm mad about. Put my smart hat on for a second. This pissed me off. That I don't know. It did. And I'm a mark and blah blah blah. But I thought, I thought it would have strengthened the proposal segment if they had lost, and he did it anyway. And I also just I wanted Miz and Maurice to get a little bit more of a reward for their excellent work coming up to this. I don't know. It was just a blow off, and it was annoying to me.
Babe, I know we just lost to our arch enemies, but I've always promised to stand by you in sickness and in health.
Yep.
In victory. And then he gets to one knee. Something like that. I don't know. I kind of liked how they played it. I don't know.
I did too. I wrote it in the thing. I thought without losing, I think the story that he had already proposed essentially was the best way to pay off, to try to prove them wrong, to prove the Mizanins wrong. Yeah. I think it's funny that is like, I mean, at least as far as our traffic goes, that story is fucking lost in the shuffle. It's
Taker
way down. I mean, that was supposed to be the big I mean, that was like, I don't know. And so that's kind of funny, I guess, if you are a Cena Nikki hater, that they waited for Mania to do this thing, and they picked the Mania that they got, people are going to not even remember anything other than the very end. I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. I watched them on I liked it last night, and then I watched them on the Today Show today, and I'm like, oh, you guys are fake. Something about seeing him today and like Cena's story that only one person knew other than him, and I just liar.
Everything liar. That's what Miz and Maurice are gonna say. Yeah, we lost, okay, but like, come on. You saw the Today Show. This is so and then what a cliche. He proposes in the big WrestleMania, and now they're gonna go away on the honeymoon. That kind of yeah. It's funny. My girlfriend was at the show. She's like, those moments aren't for TV. They're not for Vince's pleasure. I don't like that they just did that. That's stupid as fuck. And I'm like, well, it kind of played well, but like at the same time, it is cliched. It is very like, this is not a moment for this. Like, especially like the scenario that it is, and like all of everything that's happened before it. And like, it almost is like, with everything Miz and Marcy said was this is what would happen if they're right. And that is what happened. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's such a. You're right. You're fake. You're so fake.
Yeah,
everything about this is fake.
And it's all gonna. I mean, this is season 2 of Total Bellas now, and
Toad Steve's needs ratings, man. They badly need ratings.
And that's and Nikki said the wedding won't happen in the ring, but I bet it happens on the E Network. I mean,
well, fucking Bree's gonna have a baby on the E Network. I'm fully prepared to actually see Breach.
Well, I won't, because I won't be watching. So
she's out here.
They want.
She's out here naked, showing off her pregnant belly, and that's great. More power to you. But I'm saying, man, at what point do you keep something for yourself? Just you and old D-Bry. I'm a D-Bry. Yeah. So it played well on TV. It was fine, but I don't know. It felt fake too, because what didn't happen? That. If you've watched Total Divas, if you've watched Total Bellas, if you've seen interviews, if you've seen really anything from Nikki, this was everything. And if it was really the surprise that they claim, I'm shocked. She didn't cry. The one time I felt like a woman crying anybody crying on WWE programming would be super appropriate, didn't happen. I thought that took it out.
Watery-eyed, I guess, but yeah.
It just kind of like this is everything you've ever wanted. Like, you've been dying for this. Total Diva stories have been like, if he's not going to marry me, I don't know if I can be with him. But I don't know if I can be without him. Like, very real human emotional struggle. And this is the culmination of that he made a decision, that this is they've presented Cena as a complex fellow, one who is unlikely to take a wife. Mm-hmm.
Somebody should hire you to write about this stuff, man. You have a way with words.
And here he is. I ripped that from Friends. And here he is. That's the same story that they did on Friends. That was Joey talking to Monica when fucking Chandler was pretending like he wasn't going to propose because he's got commitment issues. And then when he did, impact.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing here. Like, this is like you thought he would never do this, and he's done this. You know, and I like that they tied in the neck injury stuff because it was, you know, you were loopy. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
But, you know, I said this because, and that is a time you would say that, like, I'm going into neck surgery. And surgery's serious, dude. Like, they make you sign waivers and shit. Like, shit could go bad. You could die.
Just going under anesthesia is not a 100%.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that the focal point of that story that she got loopy because she was going into surgery is that you could die. People die every day.
Serious fucking shit. Like, there's, I mean, somebody died going under anesthesia, had their like wisdom teeth removed or some shit.
Yep.
Like really terrifying stuff. Yep. So I got my shit out. I was like, yeah, you're not putting me under. Yep. Let's just do this thing. We'll just go local with it. It's like, all right, you're gonna hear a crack. they literally go in my mouth with these pliers.
Ugh.
And I'm like, it hurts. They're like, no, your brain thinks it does. The Novocaine has numbed you. What you're feeling is pressure. That's not pain. I get it that it's uncomfortable. I'm like, all right, do your thing. And this dude his arm is shaking. He was working so hard to get this tooth out of my mouth. His arm is shaking. And he told, you're going to hear a crack. And that's just the tooth coming out.
Ugh.
And I heard it and it came out. And then they shove the gauze in your mouth. They bite down on that. And then your shit's wounded or whatever. And then amazingly enough, 2 days later, you're good. Your mouth heals really fast. But yeah, super not fun thing to go through.
We're going to have to put a trigger warning on this episode. Gino just described fucking tooth extraction.
Super not fun thing to be awake for, but you know, it's also anyway, like I said, it's a thing, you know, you go under anesthesia or surgery or whatever, and it's like, hey, you know, who are the people we might need to notify if something goes wrong, or who are the people who we might need to make a decision for you if a decision needs to be made.
Yep.
That shit's scary. So it's like, that's the kind of time that a person who's in love would go, hey, you know what? I'm realizing something right now. I can't live without you. I don't want to live without you. You're my fucking person, and I always want to be here. So I think now I know. That's like we talked about with Bray. That's a seminal moment in someone's life where it's like I understand now, and that's the kind of shit that makes life itself very interesting and worth living. Are those kind of moments like that where you can have that understanding, that moment of clarity to be like, wow, I didn't think I wanted marriage because I have all these hangups about it, because I had a bad divorce, or because I had all this stuff happen, and that's Cena. I'm too busy. There's too much going on. I'm too dedicated to this. I got this and this. And then finally, boom, here she is, and it's like, you might not see her again. It's, oh, fuck that. No, wait. And then suddenly, bam, everything reprioritizes and everything makes sense to you now. And everything's like, yeah, let's do this. Instead, like you said, it feels fake. She didn't cry. It was a standard. The ring's huge. They're hugging. Now they're on the Today Show. It's going to be promoted on reality shows. And it's like, all right. All the feel good I had about it is gone.
Yeah. I just don't buy this. Like his story on the Today Show, I don't know if you've seen it yet. He said only one other person knew. He said he didn't know his mother was going to be there. He was exactly like that's. I mean, most of the comments are funny. It's like most of them are like, "Was that person Dave Meltzer?" You know, it's like don't fucking lie to us. We were going with you, but now,
well, no one knew. I guess in the literal definition of that word. Only he and one other person knew. I guess the person who sold him the fucking jewel.
Well, we still haven't seen I thought there would be a million posts about the ring and
pretty big rock
today. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those either.
There's when they go backstage. There's a Fallout video that they did for Mania that I put in the playlist where he's like, they hug and he like has his face in his hands, and he's like, "Do you like the ring?" And she's like, "Oh my god, I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's so nice, John." That was a dead-on Nikki. Holy shit.
That was very. I was scared actually.
Too much Bella Twins, but he liked it and he put a ring on it, and it's a big old fat ring. And the moment fell flat, and it's been totally lost in the shuffle because of the thing that we have to talk about now, Sean. It's time to talk about it, man. We talked about everything else. No, we didn't. We haven't talked about the women at all.
No, I mean we're not going to even get to half the shit on this show. It's too much.
Do we want to talk the Hardys? We didn't even talk about the Hardys.
I know, right?
You know who's good? The New Day. I thought the New Day did a good job as hosts. Like, I might even do a post on this too. Like, they did exactly what you would want hosts to do. They weren't overbearing like The Rock was when he hosted in WrestleMania 27, but they weren't underrepresented. They got the opening segment to come out and do their thing. They did the Final Fantasy cosplay thing. They did, which they sent us. Their PR sent us like, hey, can you post on this? And we're like, no.
I don't. I mean, I didn't. I thought about. They didn't. I was waiting. I was going to do a fan shot of it when it happened, but they didn't send anything out on it. The social media didn't. So
yeah, they sent it to us in a press release. Like, please post this. But I was like, well, maybe we can because it is worthwhile. But then it just ended up in a debate because people started talking about Final Fantasy 15 and stuff. I'm like, dude, Final Fantasy fell off after 9. Like 7 was a classic, of course, but Tactics is the best Final Fantasy. And then people are like, this guy's high. 12 was amazing. And it's like, don't talk shit. Even my own brother was going at me. But no, I thought they did a really good job. Like and that was a cool moment. I think they did the return really well because, it's let's ring the bell. Let's start the match. Everyone's there. And then it's like, well, how would they bring the Hardys in? But then the New Day theme hits and it's like, they're in their gear. Which I thought was a perfect way to play that because it's like, oh, maybe they're going to go into the match. Like that's your first thought, even knowing you'd be pretty sure that the return's going to happen. But then, they have to throw some doubt on that. And the good way to do that is to have them come out and they were dressed in their gear like they were going to wrestle. Like actually, it's a fatal 4-way. And who is the team that it's going to be? And then get the Who gimmick in, and then they're in their gear and it's like, huh. But then the fucking Hardy music hits and the big pop. And then another reason they're so great is the video, but there's also some good GIFs floating around, how they reacted to the Hardys showing up. Like they were dancing right along with them and fucking freaking out and like being really fun and cool and like they were having a really good time. Like that's exactly what you want out of this role. So everyone kind of, they don't have nothing for New Day. That's stupid. I don't like it, whatever. But I enjoyed the things that they did. And then they came out and they did the attendance record nonsense or whatever, but they did a good job with that. I mean, for the times that we needed to see them, for the things that they needed to do, like introduce the show, bring out the Hardys in a nice swerve, and then introduce the attendance record, which they would do anyway. I thought they did a really good job with it all.
Yeah, I thought it was actually sort of low key in a way, which is kind of weird, but and it didn't feel like it added a ton to the show, right? I mean, like nobody's complaining about them the way we complain, like people complain about Rock segments or the stuff that they did last year with the other legends, with HBK and Foley and Austin. Like that felt like more of filler than what we got here from them. They went on. I thought the Hardy reveal was really well done because I thought watching it, I wasn't sure. Like, are they just going to enter themselves in this? And they're swerving us about the Hardy stuff. And so I thought that played well.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the Hardys being back.
I don't either. I
just don't really, because if they can't go full broken Matt and Brother Nero, don't think I want it. Because they're not very interesting otherwise.
Because here's my this is our concern, dude. I already am sort of getting like the Dudleys comeback feel. Like they're bigger than the Dudleys were, so and they obviously got the titles, which the Dudleys never did in their comeback. But is this not going to be something where like we're just going to sort of? I guess probably not, because Jeff's got mileage as a singles performer that neither of the Dudleys do, no matter how much you love Bully Ray.
Jeff was very popular,
and I think Jeff is somebody who pretty much goes into the world title picture pretty quickly. I think they probably do a little bit of the. I'd be a little bit worried for Matt because one, I don't know how the Broken Hardy stuff plays.
You don't think they're going to stay tag team?
I think they will for a little while.
Yeah.
But I would say if Jeff's not being pushed as a single star by SummerSlam, I'm probably surprised.
I guess the plan should probably be to have him. They win the Raw belts and then maybe break him up. And the breakup is what makes him broken again.
Maybe, I guess.
If they decide to go that way, but we don't know if they're gonna. But
I don't know. I don't know how well the broken thing plays to like, people were I saw some comments like, I watched WWE with my fucking grandfather and I don't know how to explain the broken universe to him. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I think they had to create a new one if they want to do that. But my thing is, to me, and I don't want to sound nasty, but Matt has no value if he's not broken Matt Hardy. Jeff does. Because Jeff Hardy was, again, that dude headline pay-per-views that sold a ton of fucking buys. I mean, he was very popular when he was at his peak, but
I disagree with that because I think there was value in V1 Matt Hardy, but he was very much like a Cody Rhodes kind of a guy that they just never got behind. So they were content. That a lot of I enjoyed that gimmick a lot, and I think it got over with a lot of people, but they never got behind it, so it sort of floundered. And he was great as shithead Matt Hardy in Ring of Honor. I know you probably didn't see any of that, but we did posts on it on the site where
I saw some of it.
Where he was
Kevin
trolling
Steen.
people with I mean that character's really good too, but you've got to, the way WWE has always treated Matt by himself is as a mid-carder, and that, the icon doesn't really work if you're jobbing to Apollo Crews. So they've got to decide if they're willing to try to do that. I think, ideally what you would probably, I don't know, maybe get him on different brands after you do a feud with them where he ends up crazy as a result or something. There's a lot of ways they could go with it, but I'm just based on what the post-show promo where they're just like using the words delightful and procure instead of actually having a reason to is
Jeff
weird.
Is totally Jeff. He's not Brother Nero at all.
Nope.
And Matt was going in and out. They did an interview. They put up 2 interviews. One that they shot before they returned, and they're just being normal. It's completely out of kayfabe. Like, it's just, actually really excited about being here. It's going to be fun. And like, there are moments where Matt is talking, and it's like, he starts to go into it because it's almost like he's so used to it. It's probably hard for him not to. Like, it's probably a hard time for him not to be with a character like that and how much he has to play it. I would imagine it's difficult not to be so immersed in it that he just doesn't act like that in his normal life. You know what I mean? Like calling, Rebecca, talking about having a premonition or some shit like that while he's, talking about what to get for dinner. Like, but in the post-match when they had the titles and shit, he was using the tone that he uses, the cadence that he uses, the way, like doing that shit. Like, he was still doing that. And he did say delete. But when they went to do the delete thing in the ring, they cut away to a replay and they never let it pick up steam. And then it was almost like
he did the motion though, but it was from a long shot. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yep. And then they went to the replays, and then when they came back, they were just doing a standard celebration. So it was like, well, okay. But I said that it's one of those things where it's like maybe WWE would be tone deaf to the idea that the value in bringing them back is that they got over so well with that world and in that kind of own universe that they created. To bring them back and just have them go back to who they were. They called them Team Extreme, by the way.
Yep. And
I was like, no. But then they also said things are about to get broken.
Right.
Which is almost, McDevitt's probably there. Like, what do you mean? That's an infringing on what? Things are about to get broken. We meant the ladder, the table.
Oh yeah, there.
Do you have, you know what I mean? You don't have the rights to the word broken. Fuck you. So I mean, like a workaround, but also a very nice wink, wink. Broken Matt Hardy is here, and he's still got the look and the part of the hair that died. I hope that they do that. I don't know how much mileage they can get out of it, but I don't know. Feels more like a SmackDown act to me. And I would like the Wyatt broken Matt world thing to intersect in some way, but that's my own sort of.
I mean, the thing about the New Day, while I agree that they did a good job as hosts, it's like, what are they doing? I mean, they're the longest reigning tag team in history, should want to prove themselves against the Hardys, not be like, hey, the Hardys is here. It continues to annoy me that they're doing nothing with the New Day other than the variety show act, or if you're being more critical, like the fucking minstrel show stuff. I don't think it's that, but they should. I mean, we should be pushing Big E, or we should be pushing Kofi and having the other guys as support for that, or get them back in the tag scene or something. I don't think WWE thinks there's money in tag wrestling, which is why I don't think the Hardys are long for the tag scene. I think if they're
good news
in the Hardys, they're going to push them as singles guys.
I feel like there's good news in the sense that this Mania may have ushered in a new era because of the end of the old era. Goldberg's gone. I don't think he's coming back for next year's Mania. I don't think they need to have him. He's too expensive, and it wouldn't be the same, right? The appeal wouldn't be there, I don't think.
Right.
Undertaker is retired.
Yeah.
I legit think it's legit this time. Every other time they thought it was, but they never did anything like this. And he broke kayfabe, which Undertaker doesn't ever do.
Yep.
He kissed his wife.
Yep.
Ring. So he knew, and they knew. And so they went on last, and they brought Jim Ross back to call it. And Roman Reigns and the way everything, it makes sense. And now the 2 guys who beat Undertaker at WrestleMania are probably going to headline next year. Lesnar won the title, and I mean everything. I like that they're thinking long like that. It's good. And those two had a really dope match last time. It's great. My thing here is we're really actually going to get some elevation. They no longer have a choice. Who the fuck do they have to bring back from the past now to headline over somebody?
I mean, they might not bring people back from the past, but your current champions are Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar.
Sure, but even the mid-card type stuff. So the top 4 matches on this show were what? Were Bray and Randy, which is in its own way an elevation of Bray in a sense. So that's a good thing. Triple H Rollins in its own way. Rollins up there, whatever. Trips, okay, fine. But Lesnar Goldberg, Goldberg's gone. So there's a spot there. Reigns Undertaker, Undertaker's gone. There's a spot there. So there's at least 2 more spots that we're not going to have to worry about those guys again. Are there legends from the past who are big enough to come back to take those spots, or do they have to elevate people currently on the roster? To me, they're going to have to elevate. There's no one to bring back unless they can finally convince HBK. And if that's the case, everyone will be all whatever. People, that's what's funny too. When he said the Styles idea, people were like, "Oh my god, I would have loved that." Same people who are like, "Fuck, why don't you quit part-time and shit?"
You know? See, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but my guess as to who takes those spots next year is Cena, who is now more of a part-timer. I don't think it's going to all of a sudden be – I mean, I think it'll be Reigns, and I don't have a problem with that. I know people are going to fucking burn the internet down because anyone suggests that, but which we haven't even gotten into, you know, the ridiculous reactions to that fucking match.
Over it already.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I hope that I'm wrong and they surprise me and they push somebody new and it's Finn or Owens or somebody in that spot next year, or Nakamura or something like that. But I don't think. I think we're going to get more Orton, more Lesnar, more Cena, more Triple H, on a Mania card, not 12 months out of the year. But I still think they're going to lean heavily on, you know, a slightly younger version of these people. I mean, because you're right, there isn't the only person really. I'm probably, I guess maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but the big, you know, the white whale of returns now is pretty much Punk. That's it. Well, maybe not never going to happen, but it ain't happening anytime soon, and might never happen. I don't know who else is out there. Angle's back, and he's somebody who next year will probably have a Mania match. So I don't know who else it is, but I still think it's going to be a bunch of 40-year-old dudes and not, you know, they'll probably work with. It'll be like this year. You're going to have Triple H working with somebody younger. You're going to have Cena working with somebody younger. You're going to have Angle working with somebody younger. But you're still going to lean heavily on – Vince is going to lean heavily on those guys.
You're right. Angle. I guess Angle would be the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're headed for a crash.
Yeah. I don't know.
They're gonna do. Well, do you want to talk about Undertaker and Roman Reigns?
Sure.
We're going long as hell, like WrestleMania.
I gotta go back to work. I was uncomfortable to watch.
The match sucked.
Yeah, I like that they sort of tried to make that part of the story, I guess, but it probably still shouldn't have I mean, it would have been nice in retrospect for Taker to have gone out with the fucking curtain call moment with HBK and Triple H. I mean, that's why I hope, you know, even with the AJ Styles rumors, Michaels is right. He went out on fucking top. We never have to watch an HBK match like the Taker match we had to watch last night.
You know what? He actually
can't perform counters and, you know, all that stuff. I mean, we never have to see Michaels like that. We can always remember Mr. WrestleMania as Mr. WrestleMania.
And it's funny too, because his whole thing was after WrestleMania 25, he said he went to the back or whatever, or he was talking to his wife and he's like, you know, I don't think I can't get better than that. Like that should have been it. And it's too bad that it wasn't. But then it led to my eyes, one of the best modern stories was his chase of Taker and his retirement story of the Rumble and all the going crazy, and he's obsessed with it, and the winning match of the year and getting pissed and going, I know I can fucking beat you, and if I can't, then I got nothing. And then the lesson that the fucking match told and the story told of, you know, you can't do anything you need to do. Sometimes you're gonna fail, and you're just gonna have to learn to live with that and move on to the next thing. And that's what that was. So yeah, it's a good way to go out. and it made sense, and it got to main event and stuff. I'm glad they main evented with it. I think that's absolutely the right call. I'm glad that we got a, you know, I held it together. I got emotional when he turned and it looked like his eyes were glassy. And there was when he took the hat off, I think, right? Took the gloves off and he took the coat off and then he took the hat off and he had this exhale. Like he was like, I can, you know, finally I'm done. Like I can finally, it's over. And it's a big relief, big weight has been lifted. That was powerful. I felt like it was a pretty powerful moment. Even as exhausted as everyone was, it was still emotionally, I mean, you're spent after something like that. So it sucks that it came after such a bad match. You know, they really, HBK spoiled us. I mean, they really did. They spoiled us with those two matches because they haven't, you know, Sean's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I mean, that dude, I mean, AJ Styles is the modern version of it where you give him, doesn't matter who he's wrestling, you get a good match out of it. You put him on a stage like this and get an even better match out of it. And Styles is a big match guy. Sean's a big match guy. They put together back-to-back fucking classic matches. And then ever since then, it's been kind of almost like chasing that quality. Triple H couldn't come anywhere near it at 27. They kind of overbooked the fuck out of 28. And I thought told a good story, and I really enjoyed the false finishes and stuff. 29, they had a really good match with Punk, and I liked how they did the story with that. 30, they broke the streak after a not so good match. And then you kind of don't remember after that. 31 was with Bray, and who cares? They didn't get a lot of time. Yep. No one cared. 32 was with Shane, where it was all about him jumping off the cell, and then now this. So it's he overstayed his welcome by about 4 years.
And I don't blame him either. I blame Vince for asking him, but that's because because according to reports, he's been saying I'm done after each one, and then he gets convinced to come back.
It's like, yeah, but we need you. And this time it's like, you know what? I'll put your guy over. I'll put your next guy over. I'll do what I can for him.
And the condition is you're going to say goodbye to me in the ring, so you can't backtrack on it. I'm going to do what Michaels did and make it.
They still could.
Well, they could, but I think now he's got in his mind as the consummate professional, he can now do what HBK did and not do what Flair did and say, we publicly said goodbye. I'm not going back on that.
They have their Hall of Fame headliner next year.
Yeah, they might. I think they might maybe wait, but maybe not. Who knows? They could also do Goldberg next year if they wanted to.
Could also do Bryan.
True.
He won't be with the company. He'll be wrestling in CMLL.
Do we know exactly when Bryan's contract is up? We don't. We have guesses.
I thought it was next year. I don't know. So we didn't like the match. I thought Reigns was great. I
thought that, like I said, I think they tried to work in the storyline. Like the sitting up and falling over was sad, and I think that was definitely. I mean, that's like we were talking about the Taker shaking his head after he clotheslined Braun out. That was him acting. The sitting up and falling over. It's not the last image I want of Taker in a ring, but it made sense given that the story was he was pushing himself farther than he should have.
Yeah, I literally had no more to give, and I like, that Reigns, I thought it was interesting when he was doing the slapping thing to his face.
Yep.
Telling him to stay down. Like, I told you what would happen if you didn't stay down. Like, I kind of liked that. And I could have swore Taker was like, you don't have the balls to keep me down or something like that, or to put me down or something. I thought that was cool. Really cool moments with that. The match was really bad, but I did enjoy, that's kind of story they tell. That's what they did with Sean.
Yeah.
Where Taker said that. It was a reversal of that, of Taker telling Sean, just stay down.
Sean and with Flair too, but those guys were both. However old Flair was when he had that match with HBK, it's
60s,
amazing.
I think, wasn't it?
It's amazing that he could still go at that level. But they could both do something a little that didn't. I don't know. The not pulling off the tombstone reversal was just fucking heartbreaking. Yeah, and I know. And here's one of my two things. Everybody who's like Roman couldn't carry him to that. Go fuck yourself. There was. You deadlift 400 pounds.
Yeah, Undertaker's a very big human, and sometimes you just.
And if you watch that spot in any other match, he helps it. Nobody does it on their own.
Yeah, and it's the same people. The Braun kip up with fucking Big Show assisted, you know, like it's acting like now the rules are different because it's Reigns. That's a strange thing. And, you know, yeah, it was just uncomfortable too. It was just like, oh, it's like it's clear. At that point, it's clear. It just needs to stop. He needs to be done, and he'd let him fucking go home and eat Michelle's meatloaf. And,
that sounds
you know,
sexy.
we can, yeah, well, it's not very good.
So my other rant here is that, you know, I did the post at fucking 3 a.m. about, you know, Reigns, his interview after the match, and I just, the people who want the overt heel turn, they want him to low blow people, they want him to now be bragging about retiring Taker. Also, go fuck yourself. I'm tired. I'm like you said, I'm over that argument. It's not interesting. This is the fucking character. And the fact that you want him to be more evil so you can like him is ridiculous.
Yeah, do you think about the sentence you're saying? Think about the words coming out of your mouth. You want him to be a bad guy who tries to get you to hate him so that you'll like him. You are like, you're not worth their time. Like you're like, and also,
and you're tuning into every fucking.
You're here.
You're clicking on every article to say your bad opinion.
There was somebody who tweeted us last night. It was like, he's not over. He's not. If he's over, he's gonna. Over means for a wrestler to get the reaction that they want based on the character they're portraying. And I'm like, that's not at all how this works.
Right.
You don't know anything about what you're talking about. You should probably stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's not enjoy a thing how you enjoy it. That's just you're flat fucking wrong. Yeah, things are what they are. I mean, words mean things, and your words don't mean what you seem to think they mean. Yeah,
and guess what, everybody? You are enjoying this. Whatever, this is satisfying something for you. Your anger at Roman Reigns and at Vince McMahon for pushing him is doing something for you that you like because you keep coming back for it.
And I mean, the arguments are misguided in every fucking way. Like I want him to be first of all, it's very meh.
Yeah.
I want him to be a heel. And they keep pushing him as a babyface. Meh. Okay. Couple things here. And if I was Vince, I would look a fucking idiot fan in the face and say, do you hate him? Yeah. And you want me to turn him to make him a bad guy so you'll hate him? No. I'd like it more if you did that.
Yep.
I just like that. Actually, it legitimately makes me not want to even be a part of the wrestling world. There's so many fans like that, dude. Like someone actually said that. I'm not. If they don't turn him heel, I'm not gonna like him.
Yep.
Are you?
Lots of people say that.
Shitting me? That's the fucking point. And then people are like, well, they keep doing this, and they keep like they have to know he's gonna get booed, right? Yes, they do. They're okay with that. Yes, they are.
Yep.
Well, it's not good. It's not. You sure?
Yeah.
Did they not sell out Orlando? Did they not just make a shit ton of money? I mean, yeah, their numbers are inflated, sure, probably, but there is a fuckload of people. Are you not sitting here having this fucking argument with me about this? You know what people who don't care don't do? Argue about it.
Yep.
When you're done, you're done. I don't fight with people I don't care about. I just walk away from them and go do shit with people I do care about. So, or unless I'm being fucking paid or I have some reason to do it, like right now, I wouldn't argue with these idiots anymore because they're clearly fucking stupid. They don't understand what it is that they're watching. You don't get the program you're seeing. Furthermore, we're beyond the point of Roman Reigns saying in character going, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, where he's telling you he's not a heel or a babyface.
Yep.
This motherfucker's giving interviews, shoot style interviews where he's saying, if you want to come to the show to boo me, do that.
Right.
And he's playing into it. I want him to go heel. To do what? What's the heel thing you need him to do? The only difference between a heel and a babyface, like you said, is cheating. That's basically it. You want him to start cheating? Guess what? He does that. That happens.
And why would you? I mean, that's like people are like, well, I don't like they push the guy that looks like this as an underdog. Well, why would the guy that looks like this need to cheat either?
Exactly. And I say he
has
no character.
That he's better than everybody.
Yeah, he has no character. Yes, he fucking does. Alpha male. Biggest dog in the yard.
People are mad about the part of the quote to Coachman where he says that it felt like a loss and it was bittersweet. A second later, he says that Taker didn't know how to stay down, so I beat it into him. What else?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a heel would say.
Like, yeah, like it was bittersweet, but I mean, here's the thing. And he pushed his face as this old man was trying to get up to fight for his fucking existence in this world. He's slapping him around.
Yep.
Stay down, you old fuck. Oh, I want him to go heel. What, do you want him to pull out a fucking bazooka? Do you want him to shoot him right there? Do you want him to go get Michelle out of the crowd and beat her to death right in front of him? What the fuck is wrong with you idiots? Learn what you're fucking looking at. Just take in what he's doing. Do you hate it? Then he's a fucking heel. Or stop using that terminology because you don't know what it means. You don't know wrestling. You don't know fucking anything. You just know what you think you know because you fucking read a newsletter from someone who said he was an insider. I'm not even talking about Meltzer. There's a billion of those out there. Or you follow all these fucking Twitter accounts who talk about this shit like they know. Yep. What's the difference between us? We don't act like we fucking know.
No, I'll tell you right. I'll tell you straight up, I don't know. I'm a fan, and these are my opinions.
Take it for what it is.
Yep.
And again, and this is the biggest key thing. The thing that I just kills me the most. You're not a 5-year-old. They don't need to hold your hand and tell you, now you boo for this man. Now you cheer for this man. And you know what sucks? Characters who are bland, who uphold the virtues of, you know whose character sucks? Hulk Hogan. Because I don't give a shit about a guy who's telling me to take my vitamins and say my prayers and a real American and I'm going to fight for what's right. He's a baby face, clear cut. You know when he got interesting? When he started acting like a dick. Yep. When he pulled fucking Sid Justice out of the Rumble because he was pissy because he got tossed legitimately. It's like, well, he's acting like a heel here. Do they even know if he's a babyface or a heel? What am I even supposed to do? That's the typical stupid-ass wrestling fan response. How about you make a decision on your own and decide to boo him when he shows up because you decided he made a shitty decision? You know that there's nothing stopping you from doing that, right? What WWE is today is they're telling you, we're going to tell a story, react how you want. Isn't that what you'd think you'd fucking want? Instead of people going, well, they want him cheered and we're booing him. Ooh, no, they don't. They don't fucking care. They don't care. If they did, they wouldn't have done this. How do you not see this? How? How are there still these fucking arguments happening? They want him cheered. Okay, there's validity only during times when like they're editing packages to where like they're editing out boos or camera cut to someone booing and they'll cut to someone because they're trying to tell that particular part of that story in a certain way. Sure. But this idea that like people have to cheer or boo every person, it's either one or the other, is get out. Knock it off. It's archaic. It's not how the industry works anymore. It's not how WWE books its fucking programs anymore. It's not how anything is. Your beloved, favorite fucking snarky son of a bitch, Kevin Owens, would die for Roman Reigns' level reaction. You know what? That's not me saying that. That's a direct quote.
Yep.
You know what he said about it? He said, it's so cool. They're competing in the crowd. One segment's like, fuck this guy. The other segment's like, wait, we love this guy. And those fans are fighting each other about it, about him. That's how over that guy is. After a fucking 38-hour show, they booed the fuck out of him. And they're like, oh, that's not what they want. Okay, pumpkin. That's not what they want. Yeah. No, they want the bajillion fucking dollars of revenue from all the people who paid a shitload of money to get into that stadium just so they could boo him.
And you get the people who are like, well, why are ratings down then? You don't know. You're not, I don't, and that's another, I don't, have I fucked up my read on some ratings posts? Probably. Because I don't fucking know. I'm not a television insider. I don't know what it means. I don't know the 8 million other factors that are going on. So the fact that the ratings aren't what they were in fucking 2000 doesn't mean that Roman Reigns isn't good at his job.
Yeah, because interest in general is down.
I mean, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah. All TV ratings are down.
Yep.
There's cord cutting happening.
It's a different world. Exactly. Yeah.
It's evolving, dude. Like they have a network now that you can spend $10 on and go see whatever you want to see when you want to see it. If you don't want to watch it live, people have lives. Shit goes on, dude. Like they're dating. I don't fuck. Like it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Like if Reigns is the dude, then he can't be over if they're not fucking better than the Attitude Era and shit. Like they're not going to do ratings like that. Not anymore. The television industry's different. ESPN, exactly. Are they not still the juggernaut? They're fucking bleeding. Like they're getting rid of all their top talent. They're cutting all kind of jobs.
Yep.
So it's just like it's silly, and
that's not because fucking Scott Van Pelt isn't over. It's because it's a different fucking business.
Yeah, It's got nothing to do with how over he is. That guy gets his own fucking sports center, right?
Yep.
Because he's so good at what he does, but it doesn't do the greatest of numbers, and it's not because he's shitty. It's because the industry's changed.
Yep.
The way people watch television has changed. So, and they're mitigating that as best they can, and they're fucking navigating their way through it. And a big part of the reason they can do that is because of guys like Roman Reigns, and he does sell merchandise based on all the fucking reports that go out there. People who fucking look into that kind of shit. And I don't know. And then even then, it's like, if that's the area of the business you're concerned with, that's fine. Have fun being concerned with it. But at least know what you're talking about if you're going to bring it up. And then B, if you're concerned with the entertainment aspect of it, are you not entertained? Are you not, like, do you have a reaction? That's all that really matters. And people get mad at you for saying that, but it really is the case, folks. If they really wanted you to cheer him instead of boo him, and they were so concerned with your boos, this is not what would happen. They're not dumb. I mean, they do some shit that baffles us because of ego or because of their own inflated sense of knowing better, maybe even. But come on, they're not dumb. This dude's made billions in this life with this business. He knows. So, Their annual getting angry at people for having really bad opinions about Roman Reigns promos.
We didn't talk about the women of either brand at all. I mean, I don't know what there is to say, but I don't want to be accused of not giving any time to.
But Naomi's entrance was like supposed to be really dope at night. That's a big thing about pushing it back. That was really lame.
There you go.
They just didn't do enough with it.
No, and and my big thought on and this will be me admitting that I'm wrong, because I've told people that, I was on board with Bayley winning the title on Raw and not waiting, but they fucked up because the women's match might have been something cool if Charlotte was still undefeated on pay-per-view and that was Bayley's first win, and it just felt like that felt like a filler match. So
filler thrown together.
I was wrong. You were right.
Filler thrown together, get everybody on the card, as opposed to the culmination of a major story, and it's getting major play, and it's getting, and this Mania really also showed they're trying to do too much. The Cena proposal should have been a way bigger deal. Should have got a lot more time. The Undertaker retirement, same thing. I don't need to see a battle royal. I don't need to see Neville. I don't need to see.
We talked about it on the award-winning pre-show, but they need to. I don't know if it's maybe they need to not be so obsessed with Mania and spread some of these moments out throughout the year, or we were spitballing on before we started about maybe it's a 3-day fucking festival that they need.
Someone suggested that on the site, and I wish to give you credit, but I don't remember who it was. But a 2-day event, WrestleMania day 1, and then here's the card and whatever, and he broke this card up and here's night 1, here's night 2, and I thought, wow, that's a good one. Which one are you looking forward to more? Night 1 should be good. Night 2 is gonna be dope though. This one, blah blah, whatever, and they could make it work. And then our argument was, they'd probably say, we do that already. NXT, Mania, Raw, SmackDown, whatever. But yeah, it's just too much, and it's.
I mean, the thing is, the Hall of Fame and Takeover are what? I mean, the Hall of Fame goes long, and it's 4 hours, and Takeover's 2.5, and then you get the 7. I mean, so do it. So make Takeover part of WrestleMania night 1 or whatever, and maybe then you get away from the fucking pre-show arguments. Although people would probably be like, if it was a big deal, it'd be on night 2. I mean, but I treat it like a fucking music festival, and you could sell people tickets to individual nights. You could sell more for a pass for the whole weekend.
Each title could get its own main event spot. I mean,
they should think about trying something else. Although, I mean, they're getting coverage out the asshole today, so maybe they don't need to. I don't know.
And I mean, part of it, what they do too, could just be a simple content overload, which is a little bit of the strategy we employed times like this, where it's like we did 72 posts yesterday. So I mean, it's not like we're saying, but make sure you don't do a bunch of posts so you can keep featuring this one because that's a really good one. It's like, well, people will get there through search, and that's what's happening. Our hits are through the fucking roof.
And that's WWE's argument too. Is
so that's their strategy.
You can go watch this on the network at any time you want.
It's just a content.
You can break it down yourself if you want. You want to watch 2 hours of Mania? We have a feature. It will pick up where you left off.
Yep.
We're the only assholes who have to watch it live.
Yeah, we are overloaded because we have to watch every fucking bit that they do, and the people who aren't are like, okay, yeah, it's they can just kind of do their own thing with it. So, I mean, they're merits to both strategies, but it's just really hard on us, and I don't know. I mean, there's also disillusionment with the product on my end as far as just, it's just not, at some point it's like, man, this ain't for me.
Yep.
And the community's not for me, and the people within it are not for me, and that the whole world that exists about it is not for me. I'm just too good at running a website. Damn it.
Yeah, you are. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. I like I say, I am, but like, of course, huge credit to Sean Rudiger.
That guy's all right.
For his amazing work. Reverend Kane, shout out to Reverend
God
Kane.
bless Reverend Kane. No shit.
We're not through with everything, but I think he's through. I think the indie shows have finally come to a close, and everyone's closing up shop in Orlando. Other than WWE, will be there for the next 2 nights for Raw and SmackDown.
3 nights because they're taping NXT on Wednesday too.
There's that too, but that's also their home base. So, but
still.
Rev did an amazing job. There were a billion indie shows. There was just a billion things going on and all kind of crazy shit. I heard a bunch of stories.
And, I mean, yeah, shout out to Swift is going to do 3 straight nights of recaps for us. So everybody's pitching in. It takes a village to deliver CagesideSeats.com to you.
Swift
and the previous team, I don't want to. Eddie's awesome. Eddie keeps the fucking community going. He's thinking about ways to get people engaged while we're busy worried about news. And love you, Tanya, she's gonna do a show tonight. If you haven't talked enough about Mania, she's doing live after WrestleMania. It's 24 hours after, but yeah, we can be flexible with titles. And I'm probably for KNA Night. We've shouted him out a few times during the course of this.
Decker even pitched in from his hotel.
I know. Decker's at Mania, not getting paid, not as like a journalistic thing. He went on his own dime, and he's coming back at night saying, what can I help out with? God bless that guy. I don't know. Who am I forgetting? Somebody probably, but
yeah, I think
everybody, the whole community, we love you. We get burnt out, but it is. People tweet at me and are like, thank you for doing this. And that little thing motivates me to do the one more fucking post that I don't want to do. So it's groovy that people enjoy what we do.
It's the times that people say nice things that makes it feel like it's worth it, as opposed to.
So I gotta go back to work. So
all right, yeah. See you later.
Bye.